Hello everyone, I'm back with another discussion, continuing the last. The last I cut short. I could have gone longer, but I said let me keep it short. The audience sometimes is not receptive. This information is very important, and I want people to know what Eritrea is, and I don't want to intimidate them with long videos. Although I have no problem. I know that those who are sincerely and genuinely interested do not have issues with that. It's kind of like a class, right? But, I can meet those halfway, literally. 30 minutes versus an hour. But there is much to be spoken about. So, we spoke last about the Federation. So we talked about, first and foremost, we talked about Eritrea's federal status. We talked about some kind of reassurance by Anze Matienzo. Anze Matienzo, who told Eritreans basically that don't worry, you'll all be satisfied. You and those who want who want independence, and those who want independence and those who want to be part of Ethiopia, you'll both be satisfied. We saw that Travaskis warned that if Ethiopia crosses the boundaries, which it did, if Ethiopia crosses the red lines, then it will risk revolt. It will risk problems for herself. She had better not get herself in such potential problems. He was a British administrator, Travaskis. That's what he said. Okay, and last we spoke, we talked about how Ethiopia and the emperor didn't pay heed to such words or to such an influence. No, we don't care. So they just openly violated the Federation. As Tom Ferrer said, which was what we read last, Tom Ferrer said, as in the words of Tom Ferrer, was successfully the destruction of the federal arrangement was successfully carried out through bribery, intimidation, and where necessary, and in parentheses now, as it often was, where necessary, naked force. We mentioned this in the last discussion. The first targets were the parties and their organs. This is how the Federation... Now we're talking about what happened with the Federation. Ethiopia's broken promise, Ethiopia's not caring for any international law. Ethiopia is saying to hell with everyone. We're doing what we want to do and what they had been wanting to do. This is why Eritrea wanted independence. You see, if you don't deal with people justly, of course you're going to have, if they're awake enough, they're going to respond to you. They're going to respond. But let's see why they responded exactly. Let's see what happened. Ethiopia, so the first targets were the parties and their organs. Writers and journalists were imprisoned or intimidated, and the press muzzled. The press muzzled within the first 2 years of the Federation. Within the first 2 years of the Federation. Outright banning of the trade union movement and the political parties in the mid-1950s was followed by gradual dismantling of central institutions of the new political unit, and then scrapping symbols of Eritrean identity. The 68-member Eritrean Assembly was infiltrated and turned to a subservient body after the first elections. The Ethiopian interferences became more and more arrogant and brazen. The Eritrean languages of instruction, Tigrinya and Arabic, these were the Eritrean languages of instruction. They're supposed to be, even now, I don't know if Arabic is still, they say that it is, but I don't think it applies. But in any case, the Eritrean languages of instruction, Tigrinya and Arabic, were replaced by Ethiopia's Amharic. If you guys remember from Dr. Alam Sagad Abbai's text, There was the text that the lady remembered called Lema Begabeya, Lema in the market. That's the text they were using. Unfortunately, a children's book was a book of terror because it was forced upon people. You're not supposed to force anything on anyone. I want to make something clear. Eritrea, for those who are Ethiopian or non-Eritrean, is made up of 9 tribes. Okay? Rashaida, Afar, Kunama, Nara, Tigre, Tigrinya, Blin, Saho, and the Beja tribes. If I'm missing any subgroup, I'm sorry. But that's what Eritrea is made up of. The Beja group or groups are known as the Bedawit, I think, or Bedawi or Bedawit, if I'm not mistaken these days. So Eritrea has 9 tribes, 9 different tribes, different languages. And hopefully we have a respect for our tribes. The cause for Eritrea had no room for chauvinism, any kind of chauvinism. Not Amhara chauvinism or Tigrinya chauvinism. No, neither of these can exist. This is not part of what Eritrea is supposed to be about. I know there are those who are proud to be, for example, Tigrinya and Tigrayan. I know that. I understand. And I share the sympathy. I have love for the Tigrinya and the Tigrayan who has no problem with me. Meaning he doesn't want to see me subservient to him. And I accept that we are brothers, we're cousins. We're brothers, but we're cousins, not because we share land. No, we are actually, we may be cousins in blood, because when the Arabs came and mixed, it's very likely that they mixed with Agos, who are our ancestors. Blaine and other than the Blaine. So I respect that. But chauvinism is not something that we look for. Everyone has rights. There is no chauvinism. So people like, Johannes, I know a lot of people like Johannes the Fourth, who was the king, but Johannes, he had his, via Ras Alula, had his crimes that he committed in our lands. In our land, there are crimes he committed, not just that, in Ethiopia too. So killing Muslims or killing Blaine or killing Kunama, whoever, we don't accept that. So if Johannes is a hero to you, to us, Johannes is a kind of Hitler. We don't accept Johannes or Ras Alula. Eritrea is not just a country. Eritrea is a cause. It's a cause. It's a cause for justice and freedom. That's the cause. I understand there's a government that's there, but that was not the intention of the Eritrean people. That was not the desired result. The West wanted that. You want to go read about the CIA's involvement with Isaias Afwerki. He's the one who slept with the CIA. Go consult the texts which talk about Kangyo Station or Kangyo Station. I think it's Kangyo Station, and what happened involving that area. And many more I said what I had to say. And many more contraventions followed. The Eritrean flag, a concrete symbol of national identity. The Eritrean flag was the Malay, the blue flag with the green branches. The Eritrean flag, a concrete symbol of national identity, was discarded by a vote of the Eritrean Assembly. By the Eritrean Assembly. That event was told to this writer, meaning Mr. Walde Jesus. That event was told to this writer by his class teacher of grade 6, Siyum Nagasi. So just a quick footnote about who Siyum Nagasi is. Siyum Nagasi, a product of the British educational system in Eritrea, was a good example of the politicized elite. He was reportedly run over by an Ethiopian army vehicle on a pedestrian's lane in Asmara in 1977. So that event of the Eritrean flag being discarded by a vote of the Eritrean Assembly, that event told to this writer, Mr. Walde Jesus, was told to this writer by his class teacher of grade 6, Siyum Nagasi, who was himself burning with rage, talking open politics in class for the first time. The teacher talking open politics in class for the first time. The teacher narrated how Bahta Haggos died in the 1890s resisting Italian land expropriations. Bahta Haggos, very important figure for Eritrea and for the Tigrinya too. And if the Tigrayans want to claim him as theirs, that's fine as well. That's, if you want, he's I consider him as an example. To be honest with you, I personally, this is me. If you disagree, I'm sorry, but I prefer Bahta Haggos to Awate. This is my view. I prefer Bahta Haggos. I'm a Muslim, but Bahta Haggos, for me as a Muslim, I prefer him over Awate based on bad things that I've read about Awate. I just cannot. I cannot defend Awate. I cannot defend Hamid Idris Awate. I cannot. If someone can prove me wrong, then I'm open to that. But I've read articles that say that Hamid Idris Awate killed Kunama, and he was killing innocent people. So there are those of the Kunama who don't like him. So if some Eritreans, if you hurt them, and then you fight in a revolution, I cannot tolerate that, because Kunama are still Eritrean too. Everyone has to be included. This is an inclusive thing. I have heard that it was a tribal thing, and I don't care what it was. I don't care. You kill someone, that's it. So in my religion, I'm a Muslim. There's a figure in Islam who many Sunnis, not all, but many Sunnis who they have some level of respect for. His name was Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. He was a criminal. If you go into the history, the man was a criminal. But when you ask the average Sunni, why is it that you ask God to be pleased with him when he died a criminal, a killer? They say because he was one of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad. When you say that you love a criminal, and at the same time you say you love someone like the Prophet Muhammad, at the same time, it makes you a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. Munafiq in Arabic, it's called munafiq. You're a hypocrite, just as Muawiyah was. And there were companions that didn't like Muawiyah, by the way. Companions of the Prophet that did not like Muawiyah for the same reason that I don't like him. And many of us don't like him. Hamid Idris Awate is similar to Muawiyah. He may have fired a shot or two, but this is me. If someone wants to prove me wrong, prove me wrong. I'm not challenging you. I'm asking for you to prove me wrong. Because the sources are there. Sources that defend him are there. And sources that say things about him that don't defend him are also there as well. So, talking open politics in class for the first time, the teacher narrated how Bahta Haggos, a chief in Aklaguzai, captured the Italian governor at Saganeti and made a heroic call for wide-scale resistance against Italian land expropriations. See Leonard. I remember the name. The source is Leonard. We talked about him earlier on. I will read the bibliography when we finish later on, or if you like, I can actually give you guys. I can actually just put the camera over it. I believe there's a bibliography here, but yeah. So I hope that those who like Awate, I hope they don't hate me for my view. We're supposed to be democratic, but this is my view. This is my position. I'm pro-revolution. I'm pro independence, but I'm not pro Awate. I can't be pro Awate. I'm pro liberation movements, but not Awate. I mean, so the teacher narrated how Bahta Haggos died in the 1890s resisting Italian land expropriations. Bahta Haggos in Saganati. Saganati is in the highlands, Eritrean highlands. He was a Tigrinya. Bahta Haggos was a Tigrinya Christian. This author was shocked and had felt, meaning Walde Jesus Ammar, Mr. Walde Jesus. This author was shocked and had felt robbed of some personal valuables. While going home at 12 o'clock that morning, Suyum's class went to see what had happened to the flag at the main administrative building, Commissariato, in Karan. Local guards were still cutting the iron bar on which the Eritrean flag used to fly alongside the Ethiopian flag. The Eritrean flag used to fly, but they were cutting the iron bar. I'm so puzzled. You know, you're cutting the bar. Hey, why don't you just remove it? No, you want to make a point? What are you doing? They cut the iron bar, meaning no federation. They're saying to hell with the federation, and to hell, that means to hell with you. To hell with us, Eritreans. Local guards were still cutting the iron bar on which the Eritrean flag used to fly alongside the Ethiopian flag. Deep consternation reigned all over Eritrea because that simple UN-designed flag symbolized the people's separate identity. It symbolized the identity. That was why it was so important, because it symbolized a distinct identity. It had, therefore, been natural for many Eritrean nationalists of that generation to always remember that day with bitterness and anger. In September 1959, Ethiopia's penal code was introduced in Eritrea. On the 9th of May 1960, another shock day for many young nationalists. The Eritrean government was, again by alleged vote of the Eritrean Assembly, renamed the Eritrean Administration of Ethiopia, and the chief executive's title became that of chief administrator. The Eritrean people and the major allied powers, which had their embassy-sized consulates general in Asmara, knew what was going on. The consulates were definitely reporting it to their respective governments. The American consul, Earl Ritchie, on his part, wrote to the State Department in 1959. What did he write? He wrote, Eritrea is run as a police state insofar as political opposition is concerned, devoid of any free or opposition press, and with a populace denied the political and other rights guaranteed to them by their constitution. Eritrea is today not anything but the autonomous and democratic unit envisioned by the framers of the United Nations resolution. Again, what did Earl Ritchie say? The American consul, Earl Ritchie, on his part, wrote to the State Department in 1959, just 2 years before the start of the revolution. Eritrea is run as a police state insofar as political opposition is concerned, devoid of any free or opposition press, and with a populace denied the political and other rights guaranteed to them by their constitution. Eritrea is today anything but the autonomous and democratic unit envisioned by the framers of the United Nations resolution. So devoid of any free or opposition press, and with a populace denied the political and other rights guaranteed by them and their constitution, guaranteed to them by their constitution, Eritrea is today anything but the autonomous and democratic unit envisioned. You can find that so Earl Ritchie, American consul to State Department, Foreign Service Dispatch 775 point, and then there's a space 00/622959, as quoted by Takye Fissahatzion. I had to learn to pronounce this The first part, Fissaha Tzion. I was saying Fissaha Tzion. No, it's Fissaha Tzion. I don't know what Fissaha means, but in any case, so Tzion means Zion. So so as quoted by Takiye Fissaha Tzion, page 17. By the way, as for those numbers 775.00/6, I don't know what they mean, but I'm saying them in case you guys want to. I'm mentioning them in case you guys want to go out and look for the quote. But this is what he said. The Eritrea that was supposed to be was the Eritrea that did not become. So this is it was a catastrophe. We will continue talking about this catastrophe and disaster and the crimes that Ethiopia that Ethiopia was committing. Yeah, so just to make it clear, there's a quote, but any quote that I see published by the Red Sea Press, I'm not going to quote. The reason is because the Red Sea Press, so that we have a quote, it's by Dawit Walde Georgis, and I want to mention it, but the Red Sea Press, when I wanted to do Tigrunya, so the Red Sea Press, they wouldn't grant me permission to use one of their books. So may God guide them. They wouldn't grant me permission. I don't know why. Everyone has been publishers, authors. They've been very kind, supportive, very supportive, very kind. But the Red Sea Press, they I didn't do anything to them. They just, they said that, they were suspicious. And I simply said to them, how am I suspicious? Why are you? And they just responded by saying, it seems that you're, disappointed. You should respect other people's work. I wanted to use a book of theirs. It's a wonderful Tigrunya book. And, the book is called, you can look for it. It's bitter for me to look through it because of what happened between me and the Red Sea Press. We didn't fight. We just, they just wanted to be, strict about things because of copyright infringement and whatnot. But my intention was not to do copyright infringement. My intention was to teach Tigrunya, So, but as you can see, I'm doing Tigrunya using Andrew Tadros and Mr. Abraham Takhlu. I'm using their text to teach Tigrunya. Andrew Tadros is very, very relaxed man. Very, very. I haven't spoken to Abraham yet, but they're very, easygoing people. I don't even know where to find the author of the other book, which is called Sawaso Tigrunya, Tigrunya Grammar, edited by John Mason. It's a great book, but I don't know. So for me, I personally, I don't want to deal with the Red Sea Press. I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to. If they told me not to mention anything anywhere on YouTube or any platform that has anything to do with them. So, as they wish. So I know there's a quote here, but they said not to mention anything, so I'm just not going to mention anything. It's a very sad situation. They want, if you're a publisher, well, why don't you help someone who's trying to do something for the community? Why don't you help me out? Why don't you help me out? This is what I want to understand. Why don't you help me out and help me help people from the diaspora or whoever wants? Why don't you help me out? Why don't you help me out? I'm not here earning pennies. I'm not earning pennies or money. I'm doing this for free. So that what I learned, other people can learn. And whatever they have to say and think, that's up to them. But I don't understand. Why treat the matter? They say because it's out of respect for the author. Okay then, find the author. Find the author. Just find the author. Track him down if he's around. Find those who have ownership of, if it's not you guys, find the person who has ownership of the work, and then get back to me. This is not right. And sadly and unfortunately, it's the brothers are from, they're from our lands. But you see, I don't know. It's like, it's very displeasing. Very displeasing. When it comes to dealing with any subject out there, I have no issue. Very relaxed, very easy. When it comes to Eritrea and Ethiopia, I find just difficult times. Difficult times. Difficult times. This is just how it is. I have a dictionary that I can teach grammar with. A German, it's a Tigrinya German English dictionary. That dictionary is very thick, very detailed. Very well written dictionary. It was published, I think, in maybe Denmark or Germany by Verlag Harasowitz. That's what they're called, Verlag Harasowitz publishers. I asked them for permission to use that book, for my lessons. I haven't used it yet, but if I have anything I want to use, I want to show, I asked, just to get. You know what they said? They said it's fine. Just reference us. That's all they said. Reference us. They said you can use the book. Just reference us. That book is an amazing book, but they said just reference us. Just mention us and include us. Basically in the bio. Just include us, the publishers. That's all they said. Of course, that book, what's it going to be used for? The book is to be used for teaching. So let me ask the Red Sea Press if they watch this, or anyone who's associated with them. They're a major press in the world, major publishing company. How do you expect people to teach Tigrinya if you guys have a key book, a major book, textbook? Well, I consider it a textbook, like it's something you could teach in school. How can people learn Tigrinya how can they teach in classrooms? What if someone's teaching somewhere, No, but I'm suspicious. I've spoken to them over the phone. I've dealt with them through email, but I'm suspicious because of the way I asked. And how did I ask? I said, hi, I just wanted to know if I can get permission to use this for YouTube. I was very detailed, but the way I asked apparently was, I was like, well, what's the right way to ask? I asked, what's the right way to ask then? When you want something, don't you say, you're detailed? You say, this is what I want to do. You want permission? They give it to you. Everything I do here on YouTube is with the permission of an author or a publisher. Everything I only have 3 things at the moment. There's a 4th coming soon regarding Islamic jurisprudence, but it's just crazy. How are we going to spread the knowledge? If you're suspicious, then why would I want to purchase your book? Why would I want to purchase your texts? It's very sad, very sad. In any case, next time we speak, we'll continue with the crimes of the Eritreans and of the Ethiopians. Excuse me. the crimes of the Ethiopian government, and we'll continue on with the journey that we're on. Again, we're using a masterpiece of a text by a masterpiece of a man. Eritrea, Root Causes of War and Refugees by Mr. Walde Jesus Ammar, with permission from the man himself. Very nice man. Very, very nice man. Very humble man. Very, you can tell he's, one of the originals. He's a great, of course. He's one of the greats. But you can tell he's original. One of the original Eritrean people of justice. One of the original people of justice. Yeah, pretty amazing when you meet such people. You look at them in a way that's like, wow. I've read your book. It's like you're amazing. And then Anyways, so that's all I have for now. Always keep safe and be well. Take care of yourselves. Peace be with you. I'll see you next time, God willing.